Welcome, Solara here. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to those of you who've been with me for a minute. Welcome to those of you who, it's your first time here. Welcome to those of you who just joined. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Those of you who are new, if what I have to say speaks to your soul, if it helps you to get a deeper understanding of who you are and what's happening for you, then please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I upload, then make sure to hit that notification bell too. Ring my bell, ring my bell. I also just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to all of you, those of you who sow into the channel in a myriad of ways. Thank you to those of you who comment. Thank you to those of you who, the community that participate together during the premieres. Thank you to those of you who send me emails and messages and share sacred pieces of information about your own journey with me. Thank you for trusting me with that. Thank you to those of you who trust me enough with your journey that you book me for services. I don't take any of it for granted. I really do. I thank Spirit for you. And thank you to those of you who have donated to the channel. Thank you to the few donations that came in I think today or yesterday night. I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to those of you who've also donated decks to myself and the channel. Every way that you sow in me helps me to grow and to be able to do what it is I do here. So I really do appreciate it. Oh, and thank you also to those of you who do the things behind the scenes, like when you pick up on a shiesty energy and you clear it for me, whether you do it in the comments or you speak it in the premiere. I appreciate every single way you guys help me to uphold and share my light. Okay, so tonight I have some downloads. And I'm also going to pull some cards to get more information about it, because this is less of a collective, this is less about like downloads of collective energy in the sense of something that's going on for everyone, and more, I feel like details that are an extension from some of the other readings, but definitely I'm feeling a very strong connection with the reading from last night, the last reading I did, which was about the karmic sister friend. This might be the same person that that reading was referring to, if it resonated for you. So this is either going to be more details for you concerning that situation, and for others of you, these details are just going to be, separate. It could be a different person altogether, because I was really getting mixed energies. But the energy from yesterday, that karmic sister friend combo with someone else, I'm feeling that here too. So this, of course, has, again, to do with what it is we've been dealing with, for years, but really in the past 3 weeks since the equinox occurred at the end of March. This equinox energy, and I spoke about the equinox magic 2 readings ago, the equinox magic was designed to destabilize you in order to get you ready to receive some really unstable energies during the full moon in Libra. Because remember that the matrix works on an inverse. So everything that is meant for your divine alignment, they use to take you out. And they could only do that for as long as you did not know they were doing that, and you did not know who you actually are. So this is part of the breaking of the spells. Even the sharing of all of this is what pushes us as a collective deeper into the frequency of truth. Okay. So what they were showing me was, and they showed me this in a variety of ways, but also through a dream download. From 2 nights ago, where I was picking up some of the information from the dream, but I really wasn't getting what it was they were showing me. And it's becoming clearer now. And maybe it will become clearer in the reading, because what it is that they're wanting, my guides are wanting to share with you right now, is they're wanting to give you some details behind behind this energy because it's about to close out. And it's almost like the more the details come up, the more the work is exposed, the more that you are affirmed in what it is that you've experienced, the more you grow in your confidence in your own intuition enough to also push yourself out of the cycle. So this person or people, this karmic person or people, they've lost their access to their own higher selves. They've lost access to their own higher selves in this incarnation. So I don't know the full details. I don't know if it's possible to lose access to your higher self indefinitely. I would imagine at that point it's kind of like where you become recycled and you become a new being altogether. But what they were showing me is that your connection to your higher self can be completely severed in an incarnation. It's not something that happens lightly, and this is why this is so interesting, but this is what they were showing me. They were showing me that this person or people, because of what it was that they tried to do to you in the full moon in Libra, it's kicked back and had that effect on them. Okay, so they will no longer, because they have no access to their higher self, they have no divine guidance. They have no chance for ascension anymore in this incarnation because they have no access to the one that would help them to heal and reconnect them to source. And they have no more access to their own intuitive gifts and their divine inheritance. Or I shouldn't say they don't have access to, well, it's not that they don't have access to their divine inheritance. Their divine inheritance is there, but they can't access it because you access it by way of reconnecting yourself to source. And your higher self is what helps you to do that. Working with your higher self before you come into union with your higher self, which is kind of what we've been doing, right? So that's another thing, is like a lot of them thought that they could intercept that, but more importantly, a lot of them were not aware that you were yet in that space of either working towards union or in union with your higher self. Because once you got to that place, that's when you became, really unshakable. And this is when the spell work started becoming more obvious to you, and therefore it began to backfire on them. It was when you began to become more solidified. Your identity began to match more with the truth of your higher self, and you were trusting your higher self more. That was the moment when their spells began to fail, even if you weren't fully aware at the time. And if you do your own timeline, you'll realize there was a time when it became more obvious what was happening, even if you didn't have the details. You began to recognize, oh wait, something's not right. That was because of the commitment that you had to healing, to ascending. Even if you were just beginning, just making that commitment in your soul and taking action was enough to begin to break spells. And the further you go on the journey, the more you break the spells and the illusions, for as long as you stay on your path back home to self, which we spoke about last night. That's the Sun card in the tarot. The return home to self, the reunion with your higher self, the reaccess to your solar codes is through the Sun card, the number 19 card in the tarot. And once you've gotten to that place, everything in your physical reality begins to shift. That's when we have the Judgment and the World card. Everything begins to shift so you can close out that cycle entirely and not take forward the energies and situations that had kept you out of union with your higher self, out of alignment, out of inner union, okay? So this person or people, they've lost access to their higher selves in this body or in this incarnation. But the thing is that they meant this to happen to you. Okay, they meant for this to happen to you. All the spell work they've been doing across time had been gearing up for this moment when they would cause a permanent disconnection, or what they thought would be a permanent disconnection between you and your higher self in this body that you're in this lifetime. That was it. And remember, I don't know if you guys listened to the reading from last night, but if this is speaking to you, you might want to go back and check it out, the one about the karmic sister and the karmic friend. There was something I was picking up in that reading last night about someone who, it's like that you were a nemesis, like you've gone through this, like this pattern multiple lifetimes. And what I was getting is there are lifetimes where you've succeeded, they've succeeded, but it's always been about getting access to your solar energy, your solar codes, your regenerative energy, your ability to truly be an alchemist and a magician. And what it feels like is like maybe this person, and I said it in the reading yesterday, they've duped you before and gotten you into a space where, whether or not they've caused you to permanently disconnect with your higher self, they got you in a space where you were no longer seeking your divinity, and that's how you closed out that life. Okay, so throughout this lifetime, this situation or this person, has participated in energies that were designed to consistently split you from yourself. And how does that happen? That happens through trauma, right? That happens through emotional trauma, mental trauma, physical trauma. It can cause a separation or a pull away from self, right? And so this is what all of their rituals ultimately have been about. They've been about separating you, causing these traumatic situations where you would separate from yourself. You would separate from God. You would lose your faith in God. You would lose your faith in the divine. You would lose your faith in your ability. You would lose your faith in your dreams. Because in that place, they could then harness what it was that you would have gotten if you had stayed the course. This is why they wanted you in perpetual cycles of achieving and getting but so far before they pulled you back, because the more they could pull you back, the more trauma they could inflict upon you, the bigger the split in your soul in order to do what it was they had to do. Okay, this is why they didn't keep you in perpetual states of despair. This is why they let you advance but so far. So the reason this person was trying to get you to disconnect from your higher self and your body again this lifetime was because it would have given them free reign to your divine gifts, talents, powers, and it would have also given them full command over your energy field, because ultimately when we go through these traumas and we do not alchemize the energies, meaning that we fall into the space of lingering too far. Here goes the vibrational scale. I'm going to bring it closer tonight because I realized you couldn't really see it in yesterday's video. When they can keep you in these lower states and ever wanting, but never really getting past desire. So constantly cycling, hitting desire, almost getting it, then getting pushed down, then it can create these very dense energies, especially shame, that can get you locked in. And the more that they can get you locked into that as a state of being, in the sense of how you feel and think about yourself, the easier you are to manipulate and control. Because a person who lives in those lower states is not in connection with their divine truth. And a person who is not in connection with their divine truth has abandoned ship. Right? You are the ship. You have abandoned ship for as long as you are living in those lower states, cycling through them, because you are not in alignment with who you are. And who are you? We talked about this last night. You are love and above. Your love, your joy, your peace. This is your natural state, right? That's your natural state. So if you're living here, you're living way below your divine value. And that's not to say that you're supposed to live, that it's easy to stay in those states all the time. It's not. In fact, it was really difficult to sustain that up until the energies of ascension began to shift the entire vibration and frequency of the planet. It was really difficult to stay in those states, hence the reason why, this energy harvesting machine could even exist. So Why am I saying this? So yeah, so for as long as you abandoned ship and you would stay in those low energies, you were taking on the matrix persona that isn't you, because again, you are love and above. So if you're living in those places, you're not living as yourself. You're living as a persona. You've taken on many alter egos that have nothing to do with your authentic divine truth. And for as long as you're living in the midst of those personas and alter egos, and you're not living in your divine truth, you don't have divine access to what is yours. And for most of you, most of us, we didn't even know we had these things. So this is why, by way of their orders and their societies, because they kept all of that knowledge, esoteric knowledge, they took it away from the public gaze to use it for themselves in order to control. Spoke about that very briefly in the video last night. This is what they use. They used our own magic, our own alchemy, our own awareness. And when I say our own, I mean because all of this magic and information, it is yours. It always was yours. You just had to wake up and remember. So they would bait people into their orders and their societies, utilizing that information in order to control those who didn't know. And I'm not going to get too much into that tonight. I have other videos about that you can go through and see if you're new here. But so, you know, like, if they could have gotten you to separate from your higher self permanently for this, you know, lifetime, it would have given them free reign to your divine gifts, your talents, your powers, and full command over your energy field, as well as full access to your interdimensional travel and access. One second, I'm losing my own. So it would have given them complete access to your interdimensional travel while keeping you unable to get back home to yourself. Because what would have happened was, for as long as up until this point, even with all of this going on, you still had a hold over your own energy. This is when I tell you like how wicked this is, like, and I was picking it up in the equinox magic reading. So this is just more information coming through. It's literally like they were trying to split your soul from your reality and to leave you in almost like a soulless state, a sunless, your soul is your sun, a sunless state. So they were trying to literally put your lights out spiritually so you would not be able to find your way back home, back to truth. And the reason why this may have worked in past lives is because it wasn't happening in the midst of an ascension. It wasn't happening in the midst of all of the energies planetarily conspiring to make sure that you did wake up this lifetime. Yeah, this grand working, what they've been working on for years, for some of you even decades, this grand working was supposed to put your lights out spiritually for good, this incarnation. I already said that. So this sister, this family member, this friend, for some of you it could be a brother, because we're not limited tonight with who this was. They were doing this for a group, right? And they may not have known how deep it ran esoterically. They may not have known that. They may not have known what it was esoterically that they were doing. They may not have, for example, so the way my guys were showing it to me is that they may not have known that literally they were trying to split you from yourself so they could get control over your goods. They may not have known that, but they did know that they were doing things like invoking trauma in your life and upon you for the purpose of something. They knew they were doing that. Even if they don't get the mechanisms of it all, they're aware of what they're doing, okay? There's no one innocent here, in other words. They may not know the fullness of details, but hey, this is what they chose. So some of them thought they were simply securing domination over your energy for themselves and their use, and maybe just a few others, right? But they were duped in that too. They were duped in thinking that that was the only thing going on, because ultimately what they were doing is, if you're a divine being there, they were opening you up for access to whoever it was that was their higher up, the group that they're trying to be a part of, because it gives them access. They were opening you up to this group because of what the group wanted to do with you. And think interdimensional travel, access the technology you carry, especially if you are one of those beings who has strong Sirius connections. For example, you carry a lot of the technology we use here is taken from your planet. It's taken by way of you, you know. So that's a whole other story. But they were duped too, and they were doubly duped because they did not read the fine print, as my former mentor used to say. They didn't read the fine print, because now not only will they lose what they accrued materially from every time they participated in working to split you from yourself, because this is the point. Every time that they were able to do this, to put you in despair, they got something. They vampirized in some way, right? So not only are they losing that, but now they've also lost their opportunity to ascend, because they have no more divine guidance, help, or access. The whole point of ascension is to come back into the fullness of union with your higher self. And as such, your higher self works as a guide until you reach a point where you come into a state of oneness with it, meaning that you are operating now in the fullness of your divine truth. And so if you have no guidance to get you back to that place, if your light back home to your higher self has been put out, then how do you get there? So they've not only lost everything that they've gained materially, you know, and some of them, we don't talk about this enough, some of the things that they were cloaking themselves in are your talents. There are people walking around with other people's voices. The Little Mermaid, they didn't make that shit up. They always tell you what they're doing. It's universal law. So they have no more divine guidance, help, or access. But this goes further, right? 1 second. Did I get all the details here? Yes. Okay. So before we get back into that, what I kept hearing as I was writing this and I was receiving these downloads, it's like it would have been better if they'd chosen physical death. It would have been better if they'd chosen physical death. And what my guides were explaining to me is that in the eyes of the divine, the penalty they would have paid would have been less if they tried to kill a divine being in their body, as opposed to trying to put their lights out. I hope that makes sense. Like, the penalty divinely that they would have paid would have been slightly less if they had actually unalived a person in body as opposed to in spirit. And the reason for that is because when you try to put a block between a person and their higher self, you are interfering in their connection with Source and their ability to connect with Source. And that's not something to be taken lightly. It's one thing to steal a person's divine gifts. It's another thing to try and cut off their divine supply entirely. Like, as grave as murder is here on this earth plane, as grave as that is on this earth plane, spiritually, to try and cut someone's connection off with their true source in such a finite, and nothing, it would have been finite across lifetimes, but it would have been enough that it would have been finite in this one, especially because of where we are and how your role as beings in this ascension is so interlinked. In other words, you're needed here, like the card that came out in last night's reading, the natural world needs you, especially because it would have messed with your contracts and the ascension. The reason I'm saying all of this is that the penalty that they have wreaked upon themselves is high. It's very, very high. It's heavy. It's dark. But that's what they were wanting for you. Whether they know the fullness of it or not, it doesn't matter. We all got to take responsibility now for our creations and our miscreations, right? So what's really interesting is that, this is Aries season, and Aries has a very strong link to your higher self, because it's where your higher self begins to merge with your physical body, and that's at the crown, and that's Aries energy. It's what gives it access. And this is like exactly why in these equinox and new moon energies, in this window between the new moon in Aries and the upcoming new moon in Aries, which is a hybrid solar eclipse, this is exactly why all of the warfare has ultimately been against you owning who you are divinely. Everything has been to cause you to doubt your truth, doubt your story, doubt where you're going, doubt what you've heard, doubt what you've seen. Everything is about that, but the ultimate reason is to get you apart from your divine identity, to cause you to take back a false matrix persona, because it's only when you hold on to the false matrix persona that they're able then to get access to your divine resources. Because when you're sitting on the throne of self, they can't just come up into your palace and take you. It's like you abdicate the throne when you choose a false matrix persona. And when you abdicate the throne, you lose all your divine rights, and they become like looters, if that makes sense. So again, this energy that had come up in yesterday's reading, for some of you, they took you to sacred sites. Now, whether you knew these were sacred sites in the sense that they're the popular ones, the ones that are more connected to the main chakra points of the earth, or, they have a very well-known history, it doesn't matter whether they were places like that. They don't have to be that obvious. When I say a sacred site, I'm talking about areas in the earth where there's very potent energy. They took you to sacred sites, and the reason they took you to sacred sites was not only 2222 on my clock. It wasn't only to ground the magic in of what they were doing. That was one purpose, because whenever you do energy work, you're shifting things in the spirit. But then there are other planes that have to be considered. So the spirit plane, those are the wands in the tarot, but they have to come through the swords, which is mental energy, then the cups, which is water energy. Everything is birthed through water before it becomes material reality, which is the pentacles energy, or the earth element. So in order to go from spirit to earth, you have to cross the mental and the emotional planes, and a lot of the time with their spells, this is why they will bring in the mental fuckery, the mind fuckery, the playing with your emotions and your heartstrings. Is all a way to gain faster momentum so the energy grounds. But sometimes what they'll also do is they'll do additional things to stabilize the energy, to make sure that it roots. So they'll do more things that have to do with the earth or with the physical reality. It's kind of like when you want to do something, if you're not even thinking about a spell, because a spell it's nothing but the manifestation of an energy. When you want to, create a reality for yourself, you first of all decide that's what you want to do. You begin to align your thoughts and your feelings to that, and then you take action. The action is the physical representation, it's the grounding, it's the earth energy. And so taking you to a sacred site was like the grounding or the earth energy of the binding that had been done ritualistically, and to also further root in any energy they were doing, anything they were doing to play with you mentally and emotionally too. I hope that makes sense. So, but it wasn't it that was part of it. But another part of it was because they were connecting you to major energy points on the Earth's grid in order to shut down certain parts of your light body. So the Earth is you and you are the Earth. Just like you have a chakra system and minor chakra points, and then they call them the nadis, the one what connects them all. You know, for the balanced flow of life force and energy. It's kind of like your circulatory system in your physical body. Your energy body is very similar. So, you know, you have your major organs, but you have your veins and your arteries, and that's what, and then you have your lymphatic system, and that's what ensures the pumping of blood and the regulation of it around your body. It all works to keep you alive and to keep your blood flowing and keep your blood vibrant. You know, it's a very important, your blood is extremely important for every single part of you that exists, you know, because it's the gas. It's the gas in your, it's what we won't go into that right now, but the blood is very important. It's your life force, right? And every organ needs a constant supply of it in order to thrive. And your energy field is very similar in that your major chakra points are like organs, and you have your minor chakra points, which are like you know, the accessories to that help to funnel and channel the energy around you, throughout you, and your you know, every layer for as far out as you reach etherically is connected to that. Okay, so and then the Earth is like this because the Earth has major chakra points, but then it has other places of intense energy, right? So the whole point was to bind your light body in accordance with how that energy matched the Earth plane. I hope that makes sense. So for example, if you went somewhere like, I don't know, South America, I think is where the sacral chakra energy is potent, like taking you somewhere around there, where you may not have been taken to the actual sacral chakra of the Earth, but because everything's connected in any area where there's potent energy, it's likely that it's very interconnected to the sacral energies of the Earth. So doing kind of, this is just an example, but doing things like that. But the whole purpose was to ritually bind certain aspects of your light body. And some of them did this by actually taking you to sites, but also was done remotely. It was also done remotely because what it was that, remember, I don't know if you listened to the reading last night, I was saying how there was this energy of, there was this table, and there were 4 corners at the table. And there were 4 people at each corner, and I couldn't see what they were doing. And it's very interesting because I didn't realize until after the reading last night that the 4 of Wands came out in the tarot, which was kind of like its antidote to what it was that was being done. It was very interesting that I didn't pick up on it yesterday, but I didn't pick up on it while I was recording, but I picked up on it after. And what I was seeing was that I was seeing someone's body that was mapped out in front of these people at a table. And I'm still not entirely sure if this was the 4 people at the quarters. I saw this, like, somebody's body being mapped out, and it was in front of people. And this is kind of like, you know, how you see in the Hollywood movies, the voodoo dolls where they pin the person, all that stuff, you know, they prick a person. This was way more complex than that. This was way more complex than that. Way more complex than like a voodoo doll or a Target doll. This was like a sophisticated game of Operation. Do you guys remember Operation? It was, I don't know if the game still exists, but Operation was a game where they had they probably made it because of that. They had the man laid out on the board, and you could take things out and take organs out and stuff, and it would light up, I think, when you got it right. I don't remember. It's been many decades since I played Operation, but this is what it looked like. But it was very sophisticated. Okay? It was sophisticated to the point where you could see all of the person's pressure points mapped out. So it wasn't just a physical map, it was an energetic map. And for those of you who've ever studied, like, it kind of looked like, if you've ever studied like acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine, you learn the anatomy differently than you would learn it in a Western school of medicine, because you learn about the flow of qi. You learn about the main acupressure points, and where it is you would adjust, you would place certain needles, or you would apply pressure in order to get the flow of energy moving, and how it connects, it interconnects to every single minor, what we would call like the nadis. You see, so when you learn anatomy and physiology, that's the map. If you're learning it in the West, you have to learn both. I went to school for herbal medicine, and I went to school together with the people who were doing acupuncture. We were together, so a lot of our courses were interconnected. So this is how this is the only reason why I know what it looks like, and also that in the West you have to learn both. You have to learn Western anatomy, and then you got to also learn the energy body. But this was like it was like a map of someone's energy field. Like, whoever was working on this was a very skilled energy worker, very skilled in understanding how energy works, to the point of knowing like how to work with the chakras and the what we call acupressure points, and the minor chakras, and the flow of energy, and cutting it off here to stop the flow to the third eye, or to stop the flow here to the solar plexus, or and then disconnecting this part, and how that's going to affect this part of the light body, and messing with the earth star so that the Merkaba isn't easily accessible even in meditation. Like, this person like knew what the fuck they were doing. And they were doing things that were very sinister, because what they were doing was they were playing with someone's energy field to turn things off, and to turn certain things up, and to turn certain things down, to put that person energetically out of balance. But specifically in order to stop them from getting access to their light bodies, okay? And the reason I'm saying I'm bringing this up is because this is something to do. This is not the person this is not the person who's doing this. Is not the person, for most of you, who has sold you out. This is the person who this is what they gave these people access to, if that makes sense. But going back to this, like, taking you to sacred sites, even, remember I said some of it was done remotely, and when it was done remotely by external people, like messing around in your fields like that, this person would then come and give you a gift. And the gift was a cursed object, and you may not have known it. Sometimes it may have been obvious, in the sense that you would look at the gift and be like, but what is this? Because it was really out of left field, but you took it anyway. It was a cursed object that was connected in some way to the sacredness of the land that they remotely were using to try to bind your access to your own light body. Hope that makes sense. And this is where they just told me, this is where the blood magic comes in, because they would do blood offerings also on the land. A lot of how they kept our portals shut, 22:33 on the clock, a lot of how they kept our portals locked in the earth, and they kept the true grids of the earth shut down, was by feeding their false grids through sacrifice, and mainly through blood offerings. Now, if you think about the history of our earth and all of the turmoil and the shit we've been through, you don't have to go too far in your mind to know what I mean when I say, blood sacrifice, because these are big, like multiples of people dying in spots to feed blood to feed their false grids. Okay, so those are all the downloads. that was intense. I don't know when it's not intense though. Let's go straight into the tarot tonight, because they've really been pulling me back into the light. Is it the Light Seers Tarot? They love to use this deck when they really want to hone in on the emotionality and certain details that like more traditional tarot decks aren't going to really show. Wasn't quite ready. We got the Knight of Swords and we got the Ace of Wands and we got the Three of Cups at the bottom. So this again is the Three of Cups group activity. Ace of Wands always speaks to me about the light. That's the light. That's a higher self. So that's interesting. Knight of Swords and the Ace. Yeah, running. There's something. We'll see when the cards actually come out. The Moon, the Six of Wands. Yep, trying to keep. We have at the bottom the Moon. That's something kept in secret. The Six of Wands. This, of course, is the Leo energy, and the Leo energy is connected to the Sun card. It's connected to your return to your higher self. So this is your inability to connect. When you look at it here, it's almost like you see this light on a stick. I'm sure there's a more, sophisticated term for it than a light on a stick, maybe a torch or something. But you see it here, and it's got the wreath on it, the laurel, which oftentimes is an emblem of achievement. It's like this is the energy of someone who has achieved the ability to turn their own light back on and to regain access to the fullness of their light. With the Six of Wands energy, and with the Moon at the bottom, this is like a major arcana energy. So this is like there were very, very heavy attempts to keep this person in the dark, to keep them underwater, to keep them even emotionally trapped. For some of you, the energy is of the sites that they took you to were water-based, because what they were doing rituals to bind you underwater. And when I say bind you underwater, what that does in your physical reality, there may have been times in your life where as you descended into some kind of despair, the way you started to view the world felt like you were living underwater. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. I know from personal experience, every time it happened to me, not only did I begin to feel like I was underwater, but I'd also lose vision. So it was almost like my vision became like I was underwater, and I didn't regain that vision back after I came. It got worse every time, which was really interesting, because I went from having 20/20 vision in one eye and better than perfect vision in another to, in a matter of like 3 years, to having to wear glasses, and I was still quite young. So anyway, I say all of that because that can be an indication sometimes of rituals that are binding you to water, and a lot of the time they'll bind you underwater because they're working with marine entities. This Knight of Swords keeps coming out, but I don't know what. There's this energy of chasing. There's this energy of chasing right now. Chasing. For some of you, and this energy came out last night, you have a lot of bird protectors. This is Swords energy too. So Swords energy is like its mental energy. This is the Eight of Swords. This is, again, the projections. This almost feels like they're still on the run. But when I mean on the run, it's like the energy is like still on the go. And when I mean like they're still actively trying to push projections. with the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is this energy of being bound. You see how, like, this is why I love this deck for showing certain energies. So you see how on the true side of the mirror, the true version of herself, she's not bound at all. But when she looks in her reflection in the mirror, it's full of crows that are trying to bite at her. And that's her perception. But what my guys just actually said to me is that this, again, is some of your help. These are the crows that are actually taking, for some of you, taking these strings and these binds off and removing these blindfolds. So for those of you who have had crows as they've shown up in your reality a lot on your path to freedom and to waking up into liberation, what they were sent to do for you is to remove the mental binds. And for some of you, the actual, because crows travel between worlds, some of them have been undoing stuff for you in other realms to help you to see yourself clearly. So what I'm picking up here is that there's still a person who's here at work that is, but it's a race against time. It's interesting. It's a race against time in the sense that, because what I'm feeling more than anything, and maybe this is because I know and maybe they don't know, I don't know, but what I'm feeling is that this is done. Like, there's nothing they can do at this point. You know, there's nothing they can really do, but it doesn't stop them from still trying to do something. It feels like for many of you, this whole thing is not going to, they'll never stop until a stop is put there. Like, the divine steps in, and like I said, that vacuum energy, that shared energy where a lot of the shit they've been doing to you has been building up. It's almost like they won't stop until they're forcibly stopped, and all of that shit backfires on them. Because it still feels like someone is, because the Knight of Swords energy is a very erratic. It can be a very erratic energy. Ooh, okay, so maybe this is why. For some of you, we got the High Priestess at the bottom, Pisces energy, the Lovers, Gemini energy. For some of you, there's a divine partnership coming in, friendship, or a choice that is going to be presented to you that's going to help you to break out of, there's something coming in other words, that's going to elevate you and push you forward. But for some of you, what is actually coming in with this divine partnership is going to help you activate certain parts of yourself that have been closed off by some of the rituals. So a lot of what it is that they've been doing, as much as you've already like unraveled yourself out of much of it, and for some of you, you've had, you know, help from the natural world in doing that too, like with the crows. You have others that are coming on board now to assist you, whether it is that they're coming to show you more, or whether for some of you through the act of, you know, sexual union with your divine partner is going to, you know, like put your lights all the way on. Not that, you know, you can't do that for yourself, but there are certain activations that have to occur through our interacting with one another as divine beings. That's the purpose. That's how it's been planned. You know, there's certain ways we activate and deactivate energy, which is why they were taking you to these sacred sites. And there's also what else is coming through. There's something about connecting with this other person or people or group. The ones that are coming in to help you and to activate you, that also is going to deactivate all of the things that they've already done that may have still been holding place in the land, if that makes sense. It's going to clear all that energy. It's already happening because of ascension, but there's something about the connection that's going to it's either going to clear it or it's going to activate it back into the land itself. I'm talking about it's going to activate the land itself into the fullness of what it is, how it is supposed to be circulating energetically. So it's deeper than the connection. It's deeper than you. It's deeper than just you regaining access to your light body. What it means is that it's going to activate certain areas on the earth that they're still working. I mean, they can't keep it bound at this point, but it's like they still don't want it reaching the fullness of its potential. is kind of what I'm getting. What actually came out is also the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands, and then we have the Two of Pentacles. So again, this is a 2-2 energy. This is partnerships. The Two of Wands, we've just come out of that energy. That was the new moon in Aries energy. The Two of Wands. This is when you begin to set out because you have your light. And the Two of Pentacles. Oh, okay. So the Two of Pentacles is the progression of the Two of Wands. It lands in the Two of Pentacles. So when you decide 22:44 on my clock, when you take the Ace of Wands, which is the divine spark, the light is back on, then you begin to learn how to take that out into the world, and that's the Two of Wands. So you go through the entirety of the numbers and the suits of the minor arcana, but when you're going through the twos, you go from the Wands to the Swords to the Cups to the Pentacles. And so we have the Two of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. This is again this energy of from fire to earth. There's some kind of like there was a desire to stop the grounding of your plans is really what it comes down to. And the Two of Pentacles is that shaky state at the part of a manifestation, because it could go either way. It's the first time it begins to hit reality. It's a very like immature energy that can go either way. It can continue to grow and flourish, or it can dissipate. It can dissipate into nothingness. And there's something about, because with this 2-2 energy, I'm really also feeling the I'm feeling that energy of the scales of the Libra and the full moon. There's really something here about keeping out of balance, and keeping you out of balance so that what it is you're doing moving forward doesn't materialize, or that is still kind of part of the plan, or that was the plan. I'm drawn in the Two of Wands to this globe and this camper energy here. Some of you are set to, some of you, part of your mission as you transition out of this cycle, it is to like travel to sacred sites. It is to like hop in an RV or a van and to live as like to live a more nomadic lifestyle. That's one message coming through. For some of you, there's something here that's supposed to cause disappointment in your so-called inability to do so. That again is a projection. You see her face like looking out the window. It's almost like with this Two of Wands card, it's almost like it's a pipe dream kind of thing. So if that's you, that's not true. Okay. They're trying to get in I said in the beginning, that's what they try to steal. They try to steal your dreams in order to get you to take on that false persona. What else? Is there anything else coming through here? I think I'm going to leave. Yeah, this is like the energy of wanting you out of balance. But it's just very interesting to me because this shit's not going to work anymore. Where shall I go in here? This shit is not going to work. It's not going to work anymore. But you know what? I was asking for details about some of these. I wanted to know more about some of the ways they were doing this, really, is what I want to know. I don't know if the Moonology Oracle, give me a second, let me just... I don't know if I should go into the Akashic Tarot. I'm feeling like they're wanting to show us more about the energies surrounding like some of the actual things that were going on, like even more information about the sacred objects and what they were doing and why. I feel like this is a grand time of getting getting more details. Like many of you have already broken yourselves out, but there's some things that still just don't make sense. Things that still, you know, you think about in terms of like, well, how did they achieve this? Or if this was what they gave me, then why? What was the purpose of it? And I feel like this is what they're wanting, what my guides are wanting to share with us tonight. It's more like some of the details of that. Let's go into the Akashic Tarot and see. Whoa. 1 second, that flew right off. Hold on 1 second. Wow. So this all came out in reverse. Okay, so this is so interesting. I'm going to show you something in a minute because we have the Six of Forces at the bottom, which is the waterfall, and the Forces suit in this deck is speaking to me more and more about, you know, it's not fully, but it's more about, like, to me, the natural world and natural laws, etc. That's what I'm getting more right now from this suit. And what actually came out was the Queen of Scrolls in reverse. The Queen of Scrolls in reverse. And then we have the King of Forces in reverse. And then we have the Four of Forces in reverse. And the Four of Forces is all about spring and autumn. And it feels very much like the Four of Wands energy in the tarot. And it's interesting because, again, that equinox energy occurs springtime and autumn equinox. This is what this Four of Forces energy is speaking about, and it is in reverse. And then we have the Six of Forces. I'm going to go into the actual book and see. I want to look specifically at the Six of Forces. So a towering waterfall roars down. In the upright position, this card reminds you of your incredible personal power and supports you in opening up to the force within. So again, this is just, you have the ability to shape any situation in a way that honors you and moves your life forward. So what this is speaking to me of really is, well, everything that they tried to accomplish through this equinox magic, it hasn't worked. If anything, it's opened you up even more into your power. Some of you have really gained the ability at this time to really master your emotions. And to use them for ascension, for the purpose of healing, and for the purpose of ascension, and for the purpose of alchemy. There's a Queen of Scrolls and a King of Forces that lost their place in this scenario. The Queen of Scrolls is almost, she's appearing to me almost like the keeper of records. There's some kind of record that is closed, that someone no longer has access to. Someone's third eye was blown out, or they lost complete connection to their own intuitive gifts. But I feel also that this is showing us that they were working. This person was working with somebody who was tapping into your Akashics. And for some of you, if this person was using your energy for spiritual purposes, they were harnessing it in order to get access to places esoterically, or etherically, I should say, that they wouldn't be able to access. So there's something here about... yeah, there's something here about going into your records and third eye invasion, and yeah. There's something more here. This is feeling very This is feeling very, like, I don't know why I keep on getting the energy of Ireland coming through. Maybe it is the design in the background. There's an Ireland connection here for some of you. Oh, you know what they just said to me to share? Like, some of the times when they were taking you to places remotely, you were dreaming about those places. And I've said this before in other readings, but I'll repeat it again. A lot of the time when they do when they do work like this, or when they're harvesting you in some way, shape, or form, etherically, you might dream about being in places that are like what you would consider transportation in this realm, even if it doesn't appear as it would in this realm, like buses and boats and planes and trains can all be indicative of you being moved from one state into another. So, you know, take that as it resonates. The King of Forces. The King of Forces. This again is like, I'm getting very like, I'm getting like, you know how in some of these like orders they have, there's an emulation of divine principles. So they'll have a male and a female, like a warlock, they'll call, or a high priest and a high priestess, that are doing these things together in tandem to get a result. There's something here about the failure of these two. And for some of you, the reason why it's coming out is because you have a man and a woman who've worked together for a good part of your life, doing this, or they are the ones who were really in charge of this. And this feels like either this is part of the group, or for some of you, this is directly the ones who have been, like, for some of you, you know, this is a mother-father energy. Sad to say. But, you know, that's what I'm feeling. I'm trying to, like scurry around, because I don't, you know, like, it's sad. Kind of thing is sad, but that's what I'm getting more than anything. For some of you, it's mother, father, who've been doing this your whole life, taking you to places. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I need to speak anymore on that. I don't know where else to go. I don't know where else to go. I don't know where else to go. This is somebody doesn't know where else to go. Somebody has tried to do something so much, and has not gotten the result. And it's like, it's almost like they just gave me a glimpse of a conversation. I don't know where else to go. I don't know where else to go. This doesn't want to give itself up very easily. I'm not going to lie, this energy doesn't want to give itself up very easily for obvious reasons. There is a lot of resistance, even in the receiving of the downloads. There was resistance, with good reason. Let's see if anything else comes out. Nautilus Princess. Powerful personal growth. Again, I'm very drawn to this big ass seashell she's holding, and the marine energy I was talking about before, and also when I brought up earlier on about how there's certain things they steal, including like some people's voices, like that Little Mermaid thing wasn't fake, and how, you know, this is like the seashell that Ariel had around, not Ariel, that Ursula had around her neck that had trapped Ursula's voice. this again is speaking about the relinquishing of power that someone else had over you because of all of this shit they were doing. But it also, you know, seashells could be of importance to you in terms of some of the you know, the things that, the objects I was talking about, like before. The seashells might be of significance to you. Then we have a dried flower fairy. I don't know why I'm seeing a taxidermied butterfly. I just saw a taxidermied butterfly on someone's wall. I don't know if somebody gave that to a person as a gift to ground that, but I just saw it. Maybe they're showing me more right now, some of the gifts. A clockwork pumpkin. A clockwork pumpkin. Watches. Elaborate clocks. For some of you, even if they didn't give you elaborate clocks, they may have been using clock magic. Clock magic is using like ways of trapping you in certain timelines and utilizing the energy of a clock to do that. I'm seeing and you know, one of those old clocks you have to wind. That's what they would have used. Autumn is my last chance. Please don't lose hope. Number 6. I'm getting a very strong food energy, like food. Maybe this person took you out a lot. Maybe this person cooked for you a lot. Maybe this person gave you food a lot, and it just seemed as if they were being generous or kind. That might be another way that they, and I'm not saying that every time they gave you food that was the case, but this may have been another way they sowed magic. Oh, apple pie, getting apple pie. Got the winged seer at the bottom. So again, I'm getting that taxidermy energy. Oh, and it's saying you see clearly, clairvoyance. So that's right. They're showing me some of the symbols. So for some of you, it was food, especially something like apple pie, homemade apple cider. I'm getting also. It's a poisoned apple. Something about a poisoned apple. Something to do with an apple dish that was not bewitched. What is the, I can't find the word right now, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Watches, jewelry. Well, yes, clothes, dress of alchemy. But what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing somebody either, dress of alchemy, release your power. What I'm seeing right now in this, I'm picking up, what I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm trying to pick up some of the objects or some of the things that you use to ground your magic, ground their magic in your reality. So this might not be for everyone, but again, this is a 33. Anyway, what they're showing me here is either someone may have been given a pendant with a tiny bottle. Those are sometimes like spell jar magic. And you know, you might get one for yourself that's like protective. Either you were given one of those, or this is something they wear, or you were given some kind of necklace or pendant where you may not have even known there was something in there, like there's a compartment or something, there's something in the necklace itself. And in this actual bottle, she's got like it's a 3-headed bird, and I don't know what to make of that, but I know it's important. I'm going to pan in, I hope you can see that. In the bottle is trapped a 3-headed bird. A lot of symbolism in her outfit too. Is there anything else? Some of you, again, I've had this come up before, people working with dangerous plants. I just saw that for a moment. Maybe Hawaii is of significance to somebody. Whether it's a trip to Hawaii or something that is Hawaiian. We have, sorry, Aloha Healing. Something that is Hawaiian in nature. So maybe they gave you something like, I don't know why salts are coming up right now, volcanic salts. Maybe they worked with that, or maybe they gave you this. And remember, these are things that they gave you in order to ground some of these workings in where they were binding you, they were binding your light body. We got 3 witchy sisters. We got a 3 coming out again. We have the 3 of Cups, 3 witchy sisters, and now this 33 card. Yeah, this definitely feels like a bit of a continuation from last night, and even some of the other earlier readings I've done with this energy. These ones are coming out in reverse, and then we have Fairy of the Divine Hand. Fairy of the Divine Hand. There's something about the hand here. Something about the hand. Ooh. So you see how in this picture her hand has the eye in it instead of her face. If you look closely, her hand is covering her face. First of all, that is if ever there's a symbol behind some of their orders, that would be one of them. This again is speaking to me about somebody did something specifically to someone to shut down their hand chakras. And again, I'm being taken back to that person at the table fucking around with that thing that looks like operation. Some of you have very powerful, you work very, and this keeps on coming up. It's been coming up for about a week now. And maybe during Gemini season, some of you are going to be really activated in this area because Gemini rules your hands, but also Gemini is 3rd house. So again, this has to do with siblings, neighbors, things that occurred when you were young. So for some of you, they may have done workings from the time you were young to like continually bind the energy of your hands. What hand is it? It's your right hand. Ooh, okay, so your right hand is your ability to receive from the divine, and your left hand is actually how you give. It's kind of the other way around because I forget how they explained it to me, but this is how they explained it to me. They said your right hand actually is how you touch and receive the divine, and your left hand is how you then bring it onto the earth plane. So it's the receiver and the giver of energy. Something to do with with the hemispheres of the brain. So I say all of that because this person was blocking off your ability to connect, to receive the energy you need to receive to flow. If that makes sense. They were blocking off your ability to receive. It begins with your connection to source. So your right hand is what allows that energy to flow. It's what gives you access to it. And it's not what it allows it to flow. It's what gives you access to it is kind of what they're showing me. And again, this is again shutting people down from access. And this may have manifested in your reality in different ways with your right hand. You know, take it as it resonates. But there's someone here who definitely, they shut down their hand. We've got Scotland here. We've got more water stuff. Stagnant water, which is a big thing that they love to do. Fairy of the Highlands, and we got Shallow Grave. We got another butterfly. So yeah, somebody, butterfly stuff. There's something here about butterflies. I saw taxidermy, but it could even be butterfly clothing, butterfly accessories. You know, take it as it resonates. Shallow Grave. What else? Is there anything else that wants to come through? somebody is in the grave that they dug for you already, energetically speaking. And what I feel is it's really emotionally, they're very emotionally stagnant. And what I mean when I say they're very emotionally stagnant is that they have a lot of shit coming up because of things not going their own way, and they have no idea how to transmute it. And because once upon a time they had people who they could scapegoat, they don't have that anymore. They don't have that anymore, and so now they have to deal with all of their own emotions, and they're not very happy. Not only in the physical circumstances that they've created, but in the emotional states that are coming up because of it. Because for many of you, because they're, like I said this in the reading yesterday. There's a connection. There's a sacral connection between you and this person or people. And the sacral connection comes when there's an intimacy. And this person has been using your energy for a while not to deal with their emotions, not to deal with their darker emotions. They've been, offloading all of their shadow onto you also. And whether it was like, because for many of you, the sacral energy, again, it's to do with family. So for many of you, it may have begun unconsciously. Everyone, the story is going to be different. But either way, for so long, they haven't had to carry the full load of their own emotions, even outside of everything they're accruing because of the spell work. They haven't had to do that kind of self-care, really. And so now it's like everything is coming up for them to deal with. Okay, so I think I'm going to finish up there with this reading and the downloads. I'm going to go into the Abundance Angels deck for you guys and see what comes out in terms of guidance. In general, we just like to finish off the readings with an Abundance Angels, because this is what my guides are saying we all need to be expanding in at this point, is how we deal with our own energy and flow of abundance, which is, everything you are, the flow of your divine value. Oops. I just saw let go of guilt, which again is sacral energy. So we have bountiful nature. Spending time in nature helps shift you to a higher vibration and reminds you of God's infinite abundance. Go outside and enjoy a walk or hike with your pet. Meditate beneath a tree, garden, sit under the stars, or do some other activity to connect with the limitless vastness. So for some of you also, by reconnecting with nature, in the state that you're in, you also are undoing a lot of the things that they tried to 11:11 on the clock. They tried to use against you in order to keep their fake grids open. A lot of you are grid workers and you weren't even aware, but this is why they were taking you to these places, or why they were doing these things remotely. Quiet retreat. It's time to disconnect from the outer world so that you can discern and process your true thoughts and feelings from your inner world. Create this quiet time for yourself and you'll have more clarity about what to do next. So what I'm getting also with this quiet retreat card, because it's interesting, because on the one hand, this is the energy I've been feeling right now as we move up into the eclipse. We are being readied to be able to go out in the world and do what it is we came here to do divinely, in order to help begin the shift into the new earth for the grander collective. So on the one hand, we're being ready for that debut, but on the other hand, we're being called back into hermit mode as we move deeper into these eclipse energies, because a lot of the tweaking to help us remove everything that needs to be removed through these eclipse energies is happening in that time. But what I'm also getting here with this quiet retreat, bountiful nature, is that some of you are being asked to really look at your connection with the natural world at this point. And in what ways can you enhance it? Because a lot of you are guardians of the new earth, and we have to learn, just like I said, I think it was in yesterday's reading, I've said it before, that we have to learn how to love divinely again, because the energies, the frequencies of the old world didn't allow us to sustain divine love. As much as we may have wanted it, we couldn't really have it. And now what's opening up is our ability to access and to live divinely and to love divinely. And part of how we love divinely is how we connect to that which sustains us. And my friend Lyran Witch, they actually have a really great reading about this too that I will link below. It's all about what happened with the Ohio derailment and what nature spoke to them in response to that. So what it is I'm picking up here though is that we are it's time for us to learn how to connect with how everything works energetically on the planet. So yesterday I was talking about how we are learning about magnetism, electricity, how we receive and how we give, and the importance of getting how energy flows with one another, but more importantly, how we allow energy to circulate. We have to learn who we are and how we work as energetic beings, because nothing in this incarnation showed us. So this is the time now where we're getting ready to really learn, because more is being opened up for us energetically speaking too. But to take it even further, now it's time for us to learn the energetic mechanisms of what sustains the planet when it's in balance. So the reason why I recommended the Lyran Witch video is because they did a really good job of going into how certain creatures, they're here for very specific evolutional purposes that run as deeply and sometimes deeper than why we're here. And we must recover like the sacred, we must recover the sacred reverence for all. And there's something here about when, for some of you, there's a stronger need to do this, because when you do this, because you may be grid keepers, or you may have very special codes that are here to assist in the activation of the ley lines. When you do that, as you set the ley lines free, you're setting yourself free in a really magnanimous way too, because you are Earth and Earth is you. And yes, I hope I'm articulating this well, but I don't want to go too much deeper because we're at 1 hour and 21 minutes in. But I hope that this reading was helpful and insightful. I hope that it was cohesive, because I did, especially as I began to go into the cards, I began to feel a lot more resistance. I've been feeling it today with receiving and getting this information out, but it was coming through in the cards too. So I hope that in spite of what I was feeling as I did that it's still cohesive enough for you to get something from this. So anyway, all of my information is in the description box below. If you would like to donate to the channel or donate a debt to the channel, both my PayPal and my wish list are below. If you would like to work with me, my website has all of my services, who I am, etc. Please feel free to check it out, and that is also linked below. What else? If you need to email me, I have my email also listed below. If you would like to join my Daily Alchemy members portal, there's information there. You can also check it out on my website, as well as see an archive of past writings. I think that's it. Oh, I have a new YouTube channel. I haven't posted there in a few days. That's why I'm not thinking about it. But it's called Solara Rises. And I will be going on there from time to time to do shorter, like 10-minute and less, messages. And they'll be audio in nature. So especially at the moment, it's the times when I feel I need to pull away from making the long form videos. I will be going there more. But I'll be posting things there in general also, as well as any activations I'm guided to do for the collective. So now I really am going to love you and leave you. I wish you guys joy, peace, every beautiful, wonderful, magnificent thing under the sun. Until next time, be well.